Reb, you at the Space Force. Tell us about some progress you're making sort of overall. I hear about things like Orbital Watch, which sounds awesome. I know you've laid out your Space Force data and AI strategy action plan. Give us a sort of a tone from the top.
Luke, first of all, I want to thank you all for giving us an opportunity to talk about our Space Force and the Guardian workforce. We call our workforce Guardians. That'll make all that happen. So data is a strategic asset for the Space Force. It is the fuel that we use to achieve digital advantage in all of our missions. Let me provide some context for that. Do you know the world record for the most people on orbit at the same time is? Well, the answer is 19 people in orbit, and it occurred in September 2024. We had 11 people from the United States, 5 from Russia, and 3 from China. Now, try to imagine 19 people trying to report back to the Earth all the different activities that are going on in all the different orbits in space from multiple little space assets that they are working in. That is just not possible. So how does Space Force and the rest of the world understand what's going on in space? We use a global network of sensors, both on the Earth and on orbit, to gather data about what's going on in the space domain. It comes up with a variety of different data types, whether they be telescopes or radars. It comes from a variety of different classification levels, whether they be unclassified or classified. It comes from a variety of different places, whether they be on orbit or global, and also sources, whether they be Space Force, the rest of the U.S. government, academia, our allies, or even commercial. The whole goal of this is to understand the baseline activity of what's going on in the space domain, to be able to discern changes that go on in that domain, and fundamentally to be able to characterize and attribute the different activities that go on in the domain, whether they be man-made or whether they be natural hazards. So our strategy in Space Force that we've done since we've stood up is, what are the data requirements needed for when we move from a benign environment to a congested environment where we have a lot more assets and organizations involved in space, to a potentially contested environment where our assets are threatened by other actors. Overall, that's what Space Force is trying to do with data, and we're taking a lot of actions to get after that situation. Thank you.
We really